Thank you all for being here. We'll start in just one moment. All right. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Virginia Council on the Interstate Compact on Educational Opportunity for Military Children. We'll now call the meeting to order. Uh, the first item on our agenda is the approval of minutes. But before I do that, I just want to welcome all of our guests and thank you for joining us this morning. It's great to see everyone, and welcome to all of our council members. Today's an exciting day on our agenda. We have many exciting things we do all year, but today we'll be taking action on the Purple Star designation for schools, and so certainly a huge celebration for many of our communities. So we'll be doing that later in the meeting. But first, let's jump straight to the approval of minutes. Council members, you have a copy of the minutes. Do we have any changes, or may I have a motion to approve?
I believe there needs to be one tiny change.
Yes, sir.
It was under the open discussion for the council. It's just a word change where Ms. Bevel said she does not wish to encourage anyone from seeking mental. I think that was discourage.
Discourage, yes. I believe. Thank you. So with that change, is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Okay.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Williams, second by Ms. McAuliffe. All in favor? Say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstaining? Great. Well, we will jump right into our first presentation. Next, I'd like to request that Dr. Drake Patrick please step up to the podium. Dr. Drake Patrick currently serves as the Assistant Professor for Literacy in the College of Education and Human Development at George Mason University. She is an Air Force spouse and is known for her work on educating the educator about the unique needs of military-connected students. She comes before the council today to highlight VDOE and GMU's collaborative work on the online learning module, supporting military-connected youth in school settings. Welcome, and thank you so much.
Thank you very much. My name is Jennifer Drake Patrick. As you said, I'm a professor of literacy at George Mason University, but I'm a Navy spouse.
Sorry.
I have to correct you just because my husband.
No, I completely understand. My apologies. My notes were incorrect. Thank you.
That's okay. So go Navy, beat Army. I'm a Navy spouse, but I am a mother of 3 military-connected children, which has kind of brought me to this work. We started several years ago at George Mason University when we were stationed here, a program in cooperation with the American Association of Teachers of Education to educate our pre-service teachers around the culture of...
Dr. Drake Patrick, I have to apologize. We record the meeting, so I do have to have you speak into the microphone. I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry. I'm used to teaching. So.
Yeah.
Am I not looking at?
No, you're looking at the council. I'm sorry.
Okay, got it. That's
I apologize.
All right, you're my classroom now. So when we started our work at George Mason University, it was in collaboration with the American Association of Teachers of Education around encouraging our pre-service teachers to better understand the culture of the military child and the military family. And our efforts involved creating an online learning module to integrate into our human growth and development courses so that all of our pre-service teachers were gaining a better understanding of this work. Through that work, I was able to meet Dan Dunham, and we were able to kind of connect and collaborate around the efforts at the state level. And when he began the Purple Star designation, we had some conversation around how we might be able to coordinate our efforts at George Mason University with the efforts of the Virginia Department of Education around strengthening support for our military-connected families in the state of Virginia. With that, we worked this summer to revise our online modules and are now going to make them available to teachers across the state of Virginia. So that is what I would like to share with you today. One of the things that we talk about at Mason, and our dean is a big proponent of this, is not about how do we get kids ready for school, but how do we get schools ready for the kids and the families that we have. And our efforts with this learning module are to build understanding and connections so that we can support the military-connected children that come into our school settings. There are many families across the state of Virginia and across our country that are attending schools our public schools in almost every school in our nation and in the state of Virginia. So it is important that as educators, we are aware of their needs and their experiences. I know when I first came into this work, we had just come off of a long deployment and a long separation, had left the state of Florida and moved out to California. We lived there for 15 months and then traveled with our 3 kids to Virginia for our first state duty station in Northern Virginia. And I started a job at George Mason. So we had new job, new schools, two people, new jobs, new schools, new location. And when I went to the opening sessions at George Mason University for my first job at a university, I heard Dr. Ginsburg talking about this idea of supporting military families. And so what did I do? I sent him an email and I said, I'm so excited. What are you going to be doing to support military families? And he goes, we're not sure. Would you like to come in and collaborate with us? And my initial response was, no, I'm the people you're trying to help. I'm the one who is falling apart, who has just moved, who is exhausted and overwhelmed. But I jumped into it knowing that the effort is so critical and important because I needed the help and the support also. And I know what it's like to feel that way as a mother and as a spouse when you get to a new area and are starting in a new school system and how overwhelming it can be. So that was a large motivation for my work in this area. As a literacy professor, I want to help all children to be a part of our schools and to increase their capabilities. But it's really important that we look at all of our students from a cultural perspective, and that's what this work does around looking at our military children. The issues and challenges of our military kids are sometimes not any different than some of our other children. We have children that move a lot. We have children that are separated from their parents. And a lot of the issues and challenges are parallel, but the effects and impact are accelerated, magnified, and amplified for our military children. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a preview of our module right now. We had an opportunity to interview people from across the state who are engaged in this work, as well as talk to have some people look at our video and give us some feedback. Kevin, the first one. A little bit of pause here for pulling up the video. Are there any questions while we wait? This work has been a lot of fun. We actually had an opportunity to work with a freelance editor who engaged in putting together this promo video for us. So I'm really proud of his work, our work together on this. Yes, Dr. Baylor. Yes, great question. It is currently going through the ADA compliance review at the university, and it is expected to be back to us on Tuesday for final review, and then it will be published. The modules will be published through a site that is an ongoing grant already with the State Department and George Mason University to provide continuing education for teachers.
Do teachers take this for credit, or is it part of their?
It will be part of it'll be part of this in-service or pre-service work. Our teachers at George Mason will be required to do it through their coursework, and then it will be linked to Dan's space on the VDOE website. And I'll kind of move forward past the video for a minute. The first section of the module, there's 2 modules actually, they're each about 45 minutes in length. And the first one has the objectives of understanding the military culture, understanding the experiences and challenges of military kids, and understanding the policies that help schools to better serve our military children. And teachers will participate in the 45-minute module, and then they will print out a certificate showing of completion. The second module is around resources and strategies to improve your work with military-connected families.
So, unfortunately, the video won't be seen.
Oh, it's not?
We can get them somehow to show towards the end of this. We were able to see them in there, but we were not able to get the sound to come into the space.
Oh, I'm so sad. That's okay. All right. So I'll just then I will just jump to the little bit of the overview. This is a little bit of feedback that we've had from our folks that have participated in our modules. And I know that Dr. Baylor can also speak to this from teachers that have engaged in their academy course that we collaborated with them from George Mason University. The ideas that were significant to folks are that the impact of a military member returning and becoming part of the family again was significant. A lot of our teachers didn't understand that that was a challenging part. You know, they see the reunions on TV and think that it is all everyone's happy when they come home, and didn't realize it was challenging. They learned that military children have a role in this serving too. Our participants also said that they learned to ensure that teachers connect with military families and their children in very intentional ways. They also said some of the terminology was helpful. Learning what a PCS was when they're listening to military families and being able to use some of the lingo when families are coming in. And also, they were another piece that was significant to them was the at-home impact of deployment on military children. And we have the voice of some of our children throughout our video talking about their stories and the ways that they have kind of had experiences with deployments and separations, but also had positive experiences. We've tried to look at this from a strength-based approach and look at all of the protective factors that are supporting our military-connected children, and then encourage our teachers to think about how can you use your understanding and knowledge and develop your strategies through the resources that we have to kind of help these kids move, as we say, on a scale from risk to resilience. How can you help them to move to resilience? Because that's our role as educators. All right. This is just one of the ideas of something that a local school did near us. And it's a simple way to make your families feel integrated. They had a military support day. The teacher wore a Navy sweatshirt, and the other kids wore their shirts that represented the service that they were most closely affiliated with or just enjoyed being a part of. And again, it just kind of raised that awareness and gave some voice to our military connected students. So those are some of the ideas and some of the strategies that we build into the module for our educators to understand. Some real simple things that they can do that don't take a lot of extra time. Again, it's just that raised level of awareness that helps them to integrate these into their daily teaching practices. And finally, the goal of this work is to serve the needs and then to optimize the development of our resources and strategies that meet the needs of our military connected kids and their families. It's important that we understand the context of the work and that we identify and facilitate solutions to these challenges in our schools, that we create ready schools that know who the students are that are coming into them, that we have responsive communities that we collaborate with, and we generate ideas and partnerships with not only the schools, but the community organizations that are supporting the same efforts. It's important that we have informed and well-trained key personnel in our buildings. And I think that is what is so important about the work that Dan has done with the Purple Star designation and designating those folks that are leading the charge in our local schools. Just a quick personal story. I went to my students' open house night the other night. She's a middle schooler. And they started off the open house 45 minutes ahead of time with a military welcome. And the military families came in, and it was a teacher there who had taken the training and agreed to be the point of contact and led the evening before the open house began. And so I am seeing it in my own community. I'm seeing it on a professional level and on a personal level, the impact of the VDOE instigating this Purple Star designation. And finally, opportunity to have available resources and share the resources with our teachers. Right. And Kevin, are we not able to see this video either? No video. So no videos. Hopefully we'll get the videos to you, or you can participate. We're kind of at the end. We want to go with it? Yes. Yes. That's fine. Okay, awesome. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Sorry, I don't usually face backwards to my classroom. So. You're welcome. Yeah, I thought we had it figured out beforehand. We've been in here for half an hour trying to figure it out. But it was working in there, yeah.
have our technician crawling under tables and
Thank you.
replacing cords, and
Thank
it
you,
appears to
Kevin.
be working.
I appreciate, everybody loves their tech people, right? Keep 'em
Yeah.
going. All right, so I guess he'll push play and you'll get to see the
Is
promo
is
video.
this, I know you want to show both. Is this the first one
This
you
is the
want?
first one, yes.
Okay, good. Kevin, we're ready.
To Operation Educate the Educators, strengthening support for military-connected children. A collaboration between the College of Education and Human Development at George Mason University and the Virginia Department of Education. One of the most critical aspects of our work as educators is understanding the diverse needs and experiences of our students. This online learning experience is designed to help you develop knowledge and understanding of military-connected children, and to prepare you with skills to ease transitions and create inclusive, responsive learning environments for our military-connected children and their families. Military children often move 6 to 9 times during their pre-K through 12 education. While often resilient, the consequences of extended and multiple deployments, separations, frequent relocations, and for some families, physical or psychological injury can impact the well-being of our military-connected youth. With increased awareness, however, educators can serve to support and foster resilience in military-connected children in schools.
Through our professional development, some of these teachers have understood a lot more about the military students that arrive to their classroom. So perhaps they now know that the student may be living with their family in a hotel room for an extended period of time while they're searching for housing.
Every year, we have a training for our student ambassadors. We do a training in the fall, and then each month when we meet, we have 1 or 2 meetings a month. And then at each meeting, we also do some sort of professional development training.
One of the things we recognize as we're building relationships with our families is that the military families bring a really unique experience and special need. And I knew as prior military that how important it was to make them feel part of our community. We have a program called First Friends here to help those students, when they are new to our school, become part of our culture quickly.
In this learning experience, we will build understanding about military culture and the experiences of military-connected youth.
Having a parent in the military, it's hard when they have to go away. And when I was younger, that's when my dad was deployed. It's just, my sister and my mom. And we're by ourselves, and that just not like having him around, like hearing his jokes and his cheesiness. You get like homesick because you're not with, a family makes a home. So
what I want administrators and teachers to understand about military culture and military students is that they are in many ways just like any other student or family that they have in their building. The only difference is there are unique circumstances that impacts their life in the way that civilian families and students may not be impacted.
We will increase awareness of the challenges military-connected youth may face.
It can be challenging, like all the moving. You have to move different places every few years. It's really sad and stressful because you have to leave the place that you finally got comfortable in to a new place that you've never lived in.
Following, we will learn about policies and programs supported by the Virginia Department of Education.
In order for a school to receive Purple Star designation, they have to have a point of contact at the school that serves to be that link for the military students and their families. And that person has to go through a training. That training educates them on an interstate compact and in the rules of the compact.
The biggest thing that we need to understand is that the Virginia Department of Education has made military families one of its priorities. Has been for some time, but under our new superintendent, I see it even more of a focus being drawn to doing what's best for our military families, along with doing what's best for all.
And finally, we will investigate resources and strategies so you can tackle planning and designing materials, instruction, and programs to support and bolster the military-connected children in your school setting. Let's get started and purple up for our military-connected children, because they serve too.
taste of the types of interviews and information that you'll find in the online learning module. And again, these are 2 modules, and the participants will print out a certificate of their time spent in the modules. They'll all have access to it through the TTAC online training system. So all the teachers and educators across the state of Virginia will have access to this and be able to print out certificates to go towards their continuing education credit. Okay. Are there any questions? If there's time, I know that we have overlapped. There is a second quick video that was just another one of a student. And I'm welcome to, do you have time? Yeah. I know that I have monopolized a lot more time than was given to me. Okay.
Well, while it's loading, I just
Yes.
want to say thank you for your presentation, and
You're welcome.
also apologize that we broke up your presentation.
Not
But
at all. I'm a
uh,
teacher. I'm used to it.
yeah, appreciate it. While we're waiting on the video, council members, any questions or comments?
Thank you so much for the presentation.
You're
so great
welcome.
to meet you and introduced to the work, and we're so grateful that it's now going statewide. So thank you, Dan, for that collaboration. And
Yes.
I just was curious. We talked in the break about the origination of the program and who it was originally intended for, and where else it'll be used nationally or just within George Mason community.
We will continue to use it in our College of Education for all of our pre-service teachers through our human growth and development classes. And that will be housed on the same site as where our pre-service teachers will locate it. We have also collaborated with Fairfax County, and they've taken pieces of our module for us to help them to support their academy course that they offer to teachers, which is another way for the teachers to get continuing education through Fairfax County. Our idea is that our work is available for anybody to use. We've created it with the idea that we want to share it. And so anyone who wants to coordinate and collaborate with us, we are willing to help their teachers find access to it or to renegotiate the material to best meet their needs. The work originated with that intent. It was under the Dr. Biden's efforts around joining forces, and that's where the original idea originated, with a collaboration with the AACTE. You're welcome. All right, last video. This is Sweet Addie, and Addie is one of the military students that military connected kids that our educators meet while they watch this. And this is just another taste of the type of information and experiences that you'll have when you participate in the videos. And I invite all of you to view them when they become published.
Scene 1, take 1, marker. My name's Addie and I'm 9 years old. My favorite subject is social studies, and my dad's a Marine. I have moved 4 times and I have switched schools 5 times, and I was born in California, then I moved to Korea, and then I moved back to California, and then I moved to Virginia, where I live now.
You think of one word to describe your dad, what word would you use?
Awesome. He's really fun, and he's everything to me, and cool and nice and loving.
So where is Dad now?
Bahrain.
Okay.
That's next to Saudi Arabia.
And how long has he been gone?
A year.
Wow.
Yeah. My friends, they're always asking me questions about, like, when are you gonna move? Where's your dad? And it's kind of, I don't know, it makes me feel a little annoyed sometimes because it's hard for me, especially this time. At the halfway mark, when he was deployed, we got to go to Paris and see him. My mom noticed him first in the airport while we were coming down the escalator, and all the French people are like really quiet and they keep to themselves. So I didn't know that, so I yelled at Daddy as loud as I could. And my mom was like, shh. I was like, and we just all ran over to him and did a big bear hug. The night before he left, we were excited to go home, but it was hard because he wasn't going to go home with us because he was going to another part of the world.
Is there anything that you guys have done that has helped you?
I talked to my friend about it a little bit because I was really close to them. They just helped me, just talked me through it, and they said it's okay. He's going to be coming home soon, but you can still talk to him on FaceTime and things like that. They hugged me, and they just spent time with me a lot, so that helped me.
I heard something special happened at your school while he was gone with your running club. So can you tell me about how your running club coach surprised you?
We walked in and we do stretches before we run. So that day she had this screen and something to project it, and called us over and said everybody get their own space, we're doing stretches. She turned it on, and I saw my dad on the screen, and I saw that my mom was crying, but I was really happy to see it, and so he did stretches with us on the screen, so that was really cool. I felt really thankful for doing that for us. I'm really excited for him to come home, and at the airport, I just think I'm gonna do what I did at Paris and hug him. It's just gonna be really fun for me and my family.
Well, thank you so much. I thought now that I've seen both videos, they were definitely worth waiting for.
All right.
So,
Thank you for
very-
your
very
time,
impactful,
and
so,
have a great meeting.
yeah, thank you so
You're
much.
welcome.
Well, we will transition now, council members, to our military student and family specialist update. So Dan, if you'll please come up and share your update.
Thank you. Yeah, was so happy to meet Jennifer Drake Patrick and to get that thing underway. And I was really happy that my director, Maribel Tambry, was able to secure some funds to make that happen. She gave me a little mini grant, and we were able to get that going. So I'm just elated with the product, and I can't wait to see the finished module. And I know it's going to be way better than my voiceover PowerPoint. So anyway, looking forward to it. Before I begin, I want to introduce somebody to you. If I could get Tammy Edwards to come on up to the front. Come on up here. So I don't know if you recall, but Gwendolyn Lee, the former school liaison officer at Langley Air Force Base, took on a new position, and she's got more responsibilities now within not Fleet and Family, but Airman Readiness at Langley Air Force Base. But this is Tammy Edwards, and Tammy will be taking over for her. So I wanted you all to kind of meet her. Tammy is well aware of what military life entails. And she herself grew up as a military brat, I think Air Force, correct? Yes. And she grew up in Kinston, North Carolina. Is that right? Yeah. Okay, so I grew up in Goldsboro. Did you know that? Right. So I crop tobacco not too far from Kinston, North Carolina, so I know exactly what that area is entails. So your father was in the Air Force for 30 years, and what did he do in the Air Force?
My dad actually worked in logistics and supply and fuels, and he actually was gone most of my life. Every 2 years he was going somewhere, and really didn't get to know him that well, which is interesting because we're still in the same household, but they were always sending him away. So it was really like being in a single parent household.
And was he stationed at Seymour Johnson Air Force Base?
Actually, he was never there.
Okay.
We moved there, but
Okay.
he was in Alaska, Japan,
Okay.
Korea, the Philippines.
All right. I asked because we'll get together later, but my mom was in logistics, so they might have known one another. But anyway, so she herself has moved every 2 to 3 years and has done some of those things that Military Connected Children has done. And now you have children who are graduated from college, and are any of them in the service?
No, they
Okay.
are not. But I was the mom of 2 military young men as well because I was married to a military member. So my experience is really 3-pronged because as a military brat, I know what it's like, to not have roots. Although I appreciate the culture
that I was able to experience living worldwide. Even now, when I hear people talk about going to their high school reunions or having friends that they knew from elementary school on up, I don't have that. I wanted to ensure that my boys kind of had a little bit of that, but we weren't able to accomplish that until they were like in their junior year of high school. So we lived all over.
Right. And before you became a school liaison officer, you worked as an exceptional family member coordinator,
Yes,
right?
coordinator, yes, right here at Atlanta.
Right. So she brings that expertise in the school liaison officer field. So we're very happy to have you join the folks here in Virginia. So welcome,
Thank you
Tammy.
so much.
Thank you for coming on up. All right. Next, I'd like to go ahead and yeah, great. Go ahead and talk to you a little bit about what this has gone way too fast. So I think I hit what I've had going on in terms of the compact since May. So these are articles in the compact, and these are the cases that I've dealt with. Some of them are a little bit larger in terms of my response than others, but as you can see, it's pretty even across the board. I think when it comes to course placement is probably the one that has the most cases. There's 3 of those. Most of those involve just reviewing the student's transcripts and making sure that the student stays on track programmatically and is placed in the right course. Some of the ones that are a little bit more challenging would be those in the graduation in terms of exit exams. We had some parents that really felt like their student having to take an exit exam for a course they took 2 years back was really not the right kind of thing. We looked at all kinds of different options, substitute tests and things like that. And there was just no way around it. The student didn't come with us with any evidence that they had taken an exit examination. And so in order to award a verified credit, we'd have to do that. Make sure that they took that test. And so, but I think that that's going to go away as soon as we get away from the requirement of them having 6 verified tests. And I think this group coming through now is the last year. Is that right, Dr. Lane, this graduating class?
I think we have, I would not say it's the end of it, because there will be some students that, there's one more class after this year. So it's not the seniors
So
class,
it's
it's
2
the
more
juniors.
years. Yeah.
But then you have to assume that some students won't finish in 4 years. And so, we'll probably be phasing this out over the next 3 to 4 years.
The last 2 there are just my advice or technical assistance to school divisions. There were some school divisions that didn't know that they could use the power of attorney and didn't know that they could use the hand carried records in terms of placing the students. So it's just my being called upon to provide that expertise. And then the one on top was also a technical assistance call. This, of course, does not speak to the breadth of the things that I deal with on a regular basis. So there are other, there she is. I'm going backwards, sorry. There are other things that I'm involved in, mainly, I guess within the last 2 or 3 months, I've been getting a lot of calls about Purple Star designation and giving technical assistance, but I've also been connecting with Secretary Hopkins and his department. We have been doing a lot of, collaborating on a couple of programs that I'll talk to you a little bit about today. But because of the relationship I now have with the Department of Veterans Affairs in Virginia, I'm fielding a lot of calls about dependent educational benefits. And these are the benefits that we give to military spouses and military dependents that have been in compact and received some sort of a disability or something of that nature, or maybe they're Gold Star. So I'm happy to be able to do that, to link them to that department. So I see that increasing over time as more people find out about me and find out about what I do. They might just assume that I also know about this, so I'm becoming aware of how to connect those folks to that group. We also get calls from schools that say that a military service member are going to lose their dependent benefits because the child's not going to an accredited school. And what they mean is that the Department of Veterans Affairs they don't have the school listed as an accredited school for them to receive the dependent benefits. So we're working with school systems to get those schools certified as under the Department of Veterans Affairs, so that they could, when the child turns 18, the parents can still have their educational benefits provided to them. I do often get calls from folks looking to support weighted courses, and they have either the school system has questions about how they might handle that, or the parents have questions about how that might affect their child. There have been quite a few LEA challenges, not regarding transition support, but just regarding some challenges in terms of supporting families, military-connected families, with other things related to education that might not necessarily be related to the compact. And then last but not least, there was a training that I conducted recently with Wendy O'Sullivan. You all know her very well from Fort Belvoir. And she and Jamie created this great PCS challenge that they're also doing it now in the Navy, and Virginia Beach was able to attend that. But we were able to do one for the folks at Connect for Success. And this is that group of individuals in the school system that works as parent resource center specialist, and it was well received. And I've been asked if we could maybe come out and come to the schools specifically and do that for more staff members. So I hope to connect with the school liaison officers, either the Army or the Navy or Marine Corps, Air Force, and get that underway in some of the other schools. It's a very interactive kind of training, and the teachers respond very well to it. These are a couple of things that we have in under development. I mentioned earlier my work with Secretary Hopkins. During the last time we met that I talked about the signing day. That's underway. We're now narrowing down a date in May. I'm trying to work with a for-profit organization on making sure that we're not stepping on their toes. They have a national effort, and they do it very well, and they have been doing it. So we want to make sure that we coordinate a time that works well for them. So I'll be working with Secretary Hopkins' group with that. But in addition, we've had another meeting concerning Project Search. Are you familiar with Project Search, Brad and Dee Dee? So let me explain a little bit about what Project Search is. Project Search is a company out of Cincinnati, and they provide job placement for children with special needs. So they work with a company, and they will help the school take students with special needs, and they put them in a job setting. The school provides a job coach, and Project Search provides the structure and curriculum, and comes in and trains the personnel at the business on how to work with these students. 2 years ago, or it might be 3 now, Virginia Commonwealth University applied for a grant from the Department of Defense, and I think you all might have heard a little bit about that at one of the council meetings, where they worked with the Autism Center for Excellence, and that staff conducted a Project Search site on Fort Eustis, and for students with autism that are military connected. So that research study, that little pilot, has been very successful, and has led to those students with autism becoming employed in the federal government. So some other commanders have been very excited about that and want to have something like that on their installations. So we will be approaching Fairfax County Public Schools and Virginia Beach Public Schools, and the commanders, the garrison commanders at Fort Belvoir, and then the commanding officer at Naval Air Station Oceana, with the idea of having a similar Project Search site at both of those installations and within those school systems. So under development, conversations haven't happened yet, but that's in the pipeline. I've also been asked to be a part of the work group for the Governor's Suicide Prevention Challenge for military service members and their families. So part of my work group effort will be to create school awareness campaign. I went to the Reserve Officer and National Guard Family Forum in Washington, D.C. this past summer in July. And there I learned about the military pocket card. It was developed by school nurses and a former military nurse and retired Army general. And I've been in contact with those two ladies, and we're going to be making a military pocket card, just borrowing straight from them, but adding some Virginia-specific resources to lead school personnel to assist military families and connecting them to state agencies and to military installation agencies that support the family while they're in stress, or at the service, the dependent might be in stress, or the service member might be in stress. So I'm excited about that. Joe was at the meeting as well. Joe Durkinson, he's the coordinator for the youth for the Virginia National Guard. And Joe has a youth council that meets quarterly. One of his quarterly meetings will involve a wellness topic, youth wellness, and we're going to invite select peer transition support representatives from certain schools to that council meeting so that they can have a roundtable discussion about youth wellness and learn about how to, support those students who may be under a great deal of stress and how to get them pointed towards resources as well. So we're hoping, we're going to pilot that. We're going to see how that goes. If it goes well, we might replicate that elsewhere in the state at different regions. So very good things going on. And that pretty much concludes it, Dr. Lane.
Great. Any questions for Mr. Dunham? Well, we will move on. Excuse me, to our next item, our only action item for the day. The council will now vote to approve schools for the 2019 Purple Star Designation Awards. These schools submitted applications reviewed by the VDOE Military Student Support Process Action Team. This body has determined that the schools listed before you met the criteria to be eligible for the award. As was requested last year, I'm going to read the list of schools, and it's very long. But since we only do this once a year, if you'll give me some time to read through the entire list, it's certainly a big celebration to name so many schools. After I read the list, council members, I'll ask for your approval of these schools. But the recommended schools for the Purple Star designation this year are Discovery Elementary School in Arlington County Public Schools, Crestwood Middle School, Chesapeake, Greenbrier Intermediate School, Chesapeake, Hickory Elementary School, Chesapeake, Hugo Owen Middle School, Chesapeake, Indian River Middle School, Chesapeake, Joliffe Middle School, Chesapeake. If I say any of these wrong, Dan, please let me know. Western Branch Middle School, Chesapeake, Lakeview Elementary, Colonial Heights, Carl Sandburg Middle School, Fairfax, Fairhill Elementary School, Fairfax, Fort Hunt Elementary School, Fairfax, Franconia Elementary School, Fairfax, Gunston Elementary School, Fairfax, Hayfield Elementary School, Fairfax, Key Center School, Fairfax, Laurel Ridge Elementary School, Fairfax, Mosby Woods Elementary School, Fairfax, Mount Vernon High School, Fairfax, Orange Hunt Elementary, Fairfax, Riverside Elementary School, Fairfax, Saratoga Elementary School, Fairfax, Stratford Landing Elementary School, Fairfax, Walt Whitman Middle School, Fairfax, Washington Mill Elementary School, Fairfax, Woodley Hills Elementary School, Fairfax, Patrick Henry High School, Hanover County, Trailside Middle School, Loudoun County, Camp Allen Elementary School, Norfolk, Granby Elementary School, Norfolk, Larchmont Elementary School, Norfolk, Seawells Point Elementary, Norfolk, Sewells, sorry, Point Elementary, Norfolk, Willard Model Elementary, Norfolk, Willoughby Elementary Childhood Center, Norfolk, Poquoson High School, Poquoson City, Victory Elementary School, Portsmouth, L.L. Beasley Elementary School, Prince George County, North Elementary School, Prince George, Alexander Henderson Elementary School, Prince William, Forest Park High School, Prince William, Franny Fitzgerald Elementary School, Prince William, Gainesville Middle School for the Arts and Sciences, Prince William, John Patty Elementary School, Prince William, Kyle Wilson Elementary School, Prince William, Louise Benton Middle School, Prince William, Springwoods Elementary School, Prince William, Woodbridge Senior High School, Prince William, Peninsula Catholic in Newport News, it's a private school, St. Pius, the 10th Catholic School, Norfolk, private school, St. Francis of Assisi, Triangle, Virginia, private, Chesapeake Bay Academy in Virginia Beach, private, St. Mary's Star of the Sea School, Virginia Beach, private, Winding Creek Elementary School, Stafford, John Yates Middle School, Suffolk, Nansemond Parkway Elementary School, Suffolk. And then there are a lot in Virginia Beach here, so I'll just read them all. Allenton Elementary School, Bayside High School, Bayside Middle School 6th grade campus, Birdneck Elementary, Brandon Middle School, Brookwood Elementary, Centerville Elementary, Christopher Farms Elementary, Corporate Landing Elementary, Frank Cox High School, Green Run High School, Independence Middle School, John Day Elementary School, Kempsville Meadows Elementary School, Kempsville Middle School, Kings Grant Elementary, Lansdowne Elementary, Lansdowne High School, Lansdowne Middle School, Larkspur Middle School, Linkhorn Park Elementary School, Luxford Elementary School, Ocean Lakes High School, Old Donation School, Pembroke Meadows Elementary School, Plaza Middle School, Providence Elementary School, Reed Mill Elementary School, Rosemont Elementary School, Rosemont Forest Elementary School, Salem High School, Salem Middle School, Strawbridge Elementary School, Tallwood High School, is that Thalia Elementary School? Thoroughgood Elementary School, Three Oaks Elementary School, Trentwood Elementary School, Virginia Beach Middle School, Virginia Beach Technical and Career Education Center, and Windsor Woods Elementary School. All those were Virginia Beach. In York County, Bethel Manor Elementary School, Bruton High School, Tab Elementary School, and Waller Mill Elementary School. All right.
Well done.
And with that, council members, certainly a congratulations to all those schools for even being recommended to this point. But I would like to ask us to have a motion and vote, and then we can make any comments about the schools if you'd like. Is there a motion to approve? Dr. Baylor, seconded by Senator Locke. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstaining? Well, first and foremost, congratulations to all of our Purple Star designated schools. Certainly we'll be issuing a press release, and many of the council members attended celebrations in the local communities. So congratulations to anyone and everyone involved in that process and designated. Council members, any comments or thoughts?
I have, Mr. Chairman, one thought, and that is I just counted up, I think 12 districts are represented here. Is that right, Dan? Which is certainly great growth and we're seeing. I would just encourage that we continue to spread the word across other school districts so that we see greater representation across our 100 and how many districts do we have?
132.
132. So, but thank you. This is certainly a great celebration.
Yeah, thank you so much. We certainly will. Yes, Dan? Okay, Dr. Baylor, please.
I would like to open a discussion about consideration date for this recognition, that we've had some conversation. We have a lot of turnover in our administrative leadership in some of our schools. And when the new administration comes in and learns about the Purple Star Award, they're very excited and would like to move toward having their school recognized. And the turnaround to meet the criteria from the assignment to that school and September 25th was a pretty short turnaround. And I was wondering if there could be some conversation around possibly putting the materials and the information out and increasing awareness and having the applications due in the early spring. And then the recognition of the award could coincide with Month of the Military Child, because a lot of schools have celebrations around the Month of the Military Child, and it would give the school really a large portion of the year to implement their programs and tweak them a little bit and get more solid footing. And I do understand that they have all year anyway, and they can apply for the award for next year, but possibly considering having some conversation around considering a different time. And I'm not sure why it was September. There was maybe a perfectly good reason for that.
Both great ideas. Dan, any thoughts?
Well, yeah,
I think we've talked offline, Dr. Baylor, about this before. It takes a good 2 months to kind of get all of this in place, and then it takes all day long to review the applications, and we had 148 this year, so it can certainly be done. And then let's just say that there's another month in terms of turning around the materials back to the school, in terms of notifying the schools that they've received the award and then getting their award materials to them. And then we're not even talking about the appeals process. So some of the schools who might not have been listed here have a chance for an appeal. And so they'll submit their appeals to me, and then any evidence they might have that support why they feel like they should receive the award. And then it has to be given back to you all for consideration and then a vote. So that's just, we're talking about 3-month time. And so I'm not sure that we could, if we were to receive the applications, we would need to receive the applications sometime at early March, just to make it so that we could get the, and then we would have to have a meeting to vote on that. That would have to happen in April. So we can certainly have a meeting and select the schools in April, but we wouldn't be able to give them their awards and things like that for them to have their Purple Star celebrations or
Yeah,
whatever.
so it sounds like it's possible. We just need to change the timing if we want to. So
I have one comment on that, just to maybe put in a opposing view would be to not, I think the more we can celebrate these children and these schools throughout the year is a good thing, and not just condensing it into 1 month of, a holiday or a recognition. To me, that's just even a little bit more recognition for the schools and for the students and families. So that's just a thought that I have.
Yeah, we also have to keep in mind, and Brad, maybe you can help us understand this. I think the workload in April or March and April for school counselors and the school itself gearing up for testing we might be placing a lot of work, because there's somebody at the school has to compile the information and submit the application. And I think there's some work in that. But I mean, what are your thoughts on that, Mr. Williams?
Well, I believe that's correct. I mean, there are certain times of the year that there is going to be a little heavier workload. That the people who would be involved certainly would be
Yeah. Right. So I think when we came into trying to decide a period of time where it might work for schools, we found that if we open up the application period from April through the end of September, that gave those counselors and folks who would more likely be the ones filling out these applications time at the end of the school year where students are away to get to assemble the documents and then to get them submitted when they returned. Even if they couldn't do it at the end of the year, they might have some time the first 2 weeks before everybody came back into the building. So, okay.
Well, I think the decision of maybe when to do the award should rest with the council. And so you and I can look at timing, bring it back. Certainly, I like the idea of celebrating kids throughout the year. And so, we'll bring that to the next council meeting to determine timing, whether we leave it or change it.
One other point I'd like to make is just that when I went out and we were able to do as council members to award some of these, it was a really wonderful opportunity for the school. And I think that the earlier in the year we can do that and raise awareness of the work that the school liaison officers are doing and on-campus work that's going on around these students. It just raises awareness and around the community on school campus. So to me, that's a factor also in thinking about what impacts this award actually has on a school community.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would agree with what you're saying there. I mean, what we were involved with last year, Dan, in seeing those celebrations, I mean, early in the year, it drew focus right to that point directly. It wasn't really shared with anything else, which was kind of, I think schools are very excited.
Mm-hmm. I attended some veteran ceremonies, and they sort of brought
and
to.
I guess schools would certainly be free to honor that or celebrate that award at any time. But early in the year provides one more opportunity for that.
Great.
Okay.
So we'll bring back an item on that, and whether it changes or not, at least have deeper discussion the next time. And appreciate the feedback on both, and certainly agree on the need to build more awareness and more division. So we'll do so. Any other comments on Purple Star designation from the council?
I'd simply like to say that's a really long list, which is great. I mean, I think from the perspective of what we want to have happen, but what goes unrecognized here, I assume, Dan did an awful lot of work.
Yeah.
That's a big stack.
Well, I appreciate that, Mr. Williams, but the real work was done by the school divisions. Virginia Beach has a long list, not because all the schools all of a sudden got it. They had a concerted effort that was from division leadership down that said, here are these trainings that we will bring to the school. And every one of those schools took advantage of those training opportunities. And the same can be said for Fairfax County, created an internal process of reviewing the applications before they got to me, and it shows. And so when you have the school division leadership becoming more involved in a concerted effort to get the staff aware of the unique needs of military kids, this is what you have happen.
Okay. Any other comments? Thank you, council members. Oh, please, yes.
I just do want to say, I very much appreciate you initiating this in Virginia and bringing the idea in to piggyback on Mr. Williams' recognition of Dan. Mr. Dunham bringing the idea to Virginia. The schools have really embraced it, and it really has increased education and awareness, and that's so important to the work. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dan. Well, we will now open up the floor for public comment. The floor is open for any members of the public who wish to address the council. Please come to the microphone, state your name, and we'd love to have you come up. Is there anyone that would like to make public comment? Please don't be shy. Okay, well, we'll close the public comment period. With that, we now just have a moment of open discussion to open the floor to council members for any areas of concern or questions that you may have, or items that you'd like to see us bring back at future council meetings. Mr. Williams.
The Department of Education has addressed very well end of course tests and has given an awful lot of guidance as to substitute tests and being able to recognize other states' end of course tests for students moving in, and to remove that hardship of students having to take extra tests, that they don't really need to take. Recently, more recent requirements are students with a standard diploma have to have a CTE credential for graduation. And a colleague recently brought to me, if you have, had a student move in from another state with a CTE credential from that state. I think that our testing and, compliance officers throughout school districts, however that's organized, district by district, they're really, really familiar with end of course test substitutes and the language concerning end of course test exceptions. But it appears that that language hasn't really spread into the CTE world. And I'm just wondering if, from the council or however it could be initiated, that maybe we take a look at expanding that language for substitute credentials from other state that could be accepted for a student moving in, especially a student moving in a senior year. That's when the real hardship occurs with a standard diploma. It's not that students can't pass that WISE test or that workplace readiness test. Most probably could without hardship. It's just the fact that they have to take one more test that they don't really need if they've already done a credential. We have students moving in who have had econ and personal finance or a version of that course in another state and maybe have a credential from that. It's just not our recognized credential. So I'm just putting that out there to see if maybe that's something that could be looked at and considered, and if language like the language that we have for end of course tests for that credential could be spread.
Yes. Yeah, Mr. Williams, we'll bring that back at the next meeting and give the council a briefing on A, what the issue is, and B, any potential solutions. Great idea. Any others from the council?
I guess I would like to ask our student liaison officers if, as we are now in October, we'll probably have one more meeting, Dan, correct, December. If there is anything, no meeting in December, no meeting till, what's our next meeting?
We have to decide.
Oh, we have to decide. Okay. Well, my question would have been, is there, looking towards the legislative session, if there was anything on the top of your minds? I think we may have heard it at this meeting, but just keeping in mind the legislative calendar in terms of our military children and the council. I just wanted to make a call out for that. And I guess we'll, Mr. Chairman, think about when we'll be meeting again.
Yes, and as it relates to the legislation, certainly feel free to email the council, and we can certainly pass that on to the governor's office, at least from the administration side, and then certainly we have legislators on the council that will be more than happy to take your thoughts as well. Mr. Dunham, do we want to discuss next meeting now? I didn't have that on the list, but I'd be happy to do so.
Yeah, I usually put out like a survey first, just to kind of see what everyone's availability is, and then we can do that. But we can discuss it now if you'd like.
Well, maybe just a quick thought on what is our typical meeting calendar in each annual cycle?
Well, you have a long General Assembly session next year, and so when I experienced that before, it was problematic in getting all members here during January, between January and March. I don't know if that would affect this council. It could be different. So we meet 3 times a year, usually once in the winter, usually in January, February, and then we meet once again, in the middle of the year. We've been meeting in October, and then once again, we've been meeting, last year we met in the spring, and then we'll meet again in the fall. So winter, spring, and fall.
So with your comments in mind, would the council, I understand why the long session may make it difficult January, February, March to get together. Would the council like to consider a December meeting, or?
I think we have met in December in the past, if I'm not mistaken.
We've done that 2 years prior to my coming. You met.
Okay.
The executive report needs to be submitted by end of November now. I can't wait until December to submit the executive report. And so if we met in December, it could be included in the executive report that's due within our internal process before December 1.
Are you asking if we'll meet before December 1? Or
I'm saying I have to submit an executive report to the governor's office for this year.
Okay.
This calendar year. So if we met after December 1, it's likely I couldn't get that information into that executive summary.
Right, but that could just go in the following year.
Absolutely.
Okay, we can do that. So we can certainly, we can pick a date in December if you'd like.
So council members, how about we'll have Mr. Dunham send out a survey as usual to try to target a date in December. As long as we appear to have a quorum, we'll move forward with that. Otherwise, we'll target late winter, early spring. Sound good?
I had one other question, and it related to Dr. Drake Patrick's presentation, which was excellent. Is it going to be possible once those teaching modules are complete that the council members would have access to those teaching modules, which I would think really would help inform our work as well?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
We'll make sure that you have the link and you can access them. It's going to be available across the state, and anyone who takes it will need to put in like what their affiliation is with military connected students. So we'll know if the person who took the module is a parent, a counselor, administrator, so on and so forth.
Great.
It's going to be great.
Thank you.
Any other council members? Okay, well, for our guests, we will adjourn into closed session. But before we do adjourn, I just want to thank everyone for coming and joining us today, and for any feedback that you share between our meetings or even during our meetings. And with that, I am going to read our motion to go into closed session. The military student identifier data is not a public record. On behalf of this council, I will be requesting the data to be shared with each council member so that we are knowledgeable about the scope of military-connected children in our state, and the council can perform its duties in a way that best serves the children in our Commonwealth. In order to do so, I move that the Virginia Council on the Interstate Compact on Educational Opportunity for Military Children, hereafter referred to as the Virginia Council, convene in closed session pursuant to Section 2.2-3711A2 of the Code of Virginia to discuss matters that would involve the disclosure of public scholastic records of Virginia students and the disclosure of data collected from the identification of uniformed services connected students, which is prohibited by Section 22.1-287.04D. So I've made a motion. Do I have a second? There's a motion, a second. All that approve the motion to enter closed session say aye. Aye. We'll take a 2-minute recess as we move into closed session.